So let me start over here. Okay, ready? Wiggles out. Um, so one of the things that we've decided to make this YouTube channel for is because we've been watching a lot of YouTube. We've been trying to go through home preparedness, 72-hour kits, car kits, all of those types of things. And as we've gone through this thought journey, 72-hour kits are something that's very talked about, and they're recommended to have. The FEMA, American Red Cross, state governments, community governments, local hospitals, outdoor shops, all of these places recommend 72-hour kits. It's something that's very common. It's something that we all have. And so, I guess my question is I've been packing my 72-hour kit is, what do I need a 72-hour kit for? And so the 72-hour kit scenarios start coming through my head, like maybe a power goes out, maybe a snowstorm, and those types of things. And so, and maybe, those would have to be pretty significant in order to get to 72 hours. But let's assume that they did. I'd be in my home. I'd have all the things I needed. I'd have food. I'd have warmth. I'd have blankets. I'd have shelter. I can cook. I've got propane. I've got a barbecue grill. I've got my camper. I've got plus, recreational cooking gear. I've got a lot of different ways that I could cook. I store water, so I'd have water. And water would actually be the biggest limitation on that, because I have more than enough food to last well beyond 72 hours. In fact, I got, plenty of water too, but water's, at a gallon per person per day, water goes by pretty quick. And so, that would really be my first limitation. And so, what then is the 72-hour kit for? So if it's not for that, one has to assume that the 72-hour kit is in case I need to leave my home. And I just leaving my home, there's just not very many scenarios that are possible or likely that's going to happen. And I guess another scenario would be, say, an earthquake and my house crumbles. And so all my stuff, all that bedding, the warmth, the ability to cook, this food storage, all of that goes away because it's in my home, which is a pile of rubble. But my 72-hour kit would be in my home too. And so it would be a pile of rubble. And so therefore it kind of is, like, why do I have a 72-hour kit if it's just going to get buried? But as we've talked with family, neighbors, friends, done research on it, maybe keep it outside, maybe keep it in my truck. But here in Utah, it's, in winter, it can get below zero. And in the summer, there are many days where it gets over 100 degrees. And so then that limits what you can put in that kit in your car. You can't put food, you couldn't put water, you couldn't put any medications, you couldn't put anything like that if temperatures are reaching that high. Or are there foods? That's the other question that I've been looking into and trying to do some research on. Are there foods that you can put in those kits and that can weather the weather for a long period of time? And so, as we have been putting these together, though, then, we go through all these scenarios. And I guess if it's, if the world crumbles in an earthquake, everybody else is going to be in the same boat as I am. That certainly doesn't make me any better. But that kind of makes it so you're in a pretty bad way. And if you had your 72-hour kit and you had it available and it was properly prepared, then I think that would be, a great thing in an earthquake type scenario. There are other things, like, say, my house caught on fire and burnt down. Well, I still wouldn't need my 72-hour kit. I have family, I have friends, I have neighbors, we have churches around here, and I think all of them, in fact, I know all of them would make sure that I didn't want for anything. And so, and I think that's a great thing. So again, then what am I needing a 72-hour kit for? What do I pack in it? And where do I keep it? Those questions they still keep coming up. And so, and then I keep thinking about that and what I'm going to do. And we're packing the 72-hour kit and referring to checklists of what to put in it. And we're going through all of that. And so we got a checklist. There's a number on there. You can get one at FEMA or many government websites. But a local hospital, I went to a fair just this last summer there and got this checklist for a 72-hour kit. And it listed a lot of things. And among some of them were a tent, a sleeping bag, a sleeping mat, coat, boots, a pair of shoes. And it listed, and then of course it lists, like I said, a ton of other things. But just those things right there that I listed: a coat, boots, tent, sleeping bag, sleeping mat, shoes, and all of that. You'd have to have a really big backpack to fit all of that in, and most likely 2 backpacks. But then where does that leave room for all the other stuff? And then how many backpacks are you really going to need? I mean, honestly, if you packed everything that was on that list, you would need 3 or 4 backpacks per person. And so that's really not feasible at all. And then, things like they always recommend, have extra medications, like say prescription medications. I don't know if anybody can actually go to a doctor and say, hey, I'd like another 90 days of this prescription medication just for storage. I don't know that doctors do that. I can guarantee you there's a lot of medications they wouldn't do it for and probably couldn't do it for because of the loss. And so again, if we're up to 3 or 4 backpacks per person, I'm kind of back to the same thing. And I don't think 72-hour kits should be 3 or 4 backpacks per person. I don't think that's what they're supposed to be. As we research on YouTube, though, there's a lot of buzzwords out there, and one of them is bug out kits. You got your bug out kit ready, and and that sounds cool. Like you've got this thing to go, and you're ready, and for whatever happens next, the zombie apocalypse is happening, and you're on your way out, and you've got your bug out bag. They also talk a lot about bug out locations and, and mountains and trapping, and you've got your stash up someplace buried in the hills. And, for 99.9% of us, that isn't feasible, reasonable, or logistically possible. And so, you can't just have this light bug out bag that you can hike 28 miles up the canyon with to your stash. I don't think that's going to work either. And, and also, so on another topic, same topic, but kind of another trail. I also keep kits in my cars, in my truck. And so kind of an emergency kit. And as I've been doing research on YouTube, a lot of people talk about get home bags. And I think that's a great idea. If I'm at work and something really bad happens and there's no way I can take my car, but I need to get home because that's where my family is and that's where my stuff is. Do I have enough stuff in my car or truck that, that I can grab that bag and get home? And if I'm farther away than work, because I don't actually work that far away from here, but if I'm at my other job that's, a good 30-minute drive, I don't know how long that would take me to walk that. Is it going to take me a day or two? Am I going to have to spend the night? Is it really cold outside? Is it really hot outside? And so those kits I've kind of been building. I think those have been a little bit easier to build. I've put in there, some emergency tools, minimal tools, like a screwdriver and a pair of pliers, that kind of thing. And then some stuff for shelter, warmth, a small blanket, a tarp, paracord, knives, some multi-tools, those kinds of things are all in there. So like, for example, if I, slid off the road up in the canyon and I didn't have cell service and I couldn't get a hold of AAA or my brother or sister to come and get me, then I guess, and if I was stuck for the night, then I'd be good. I can keep food in there. There are some foods like, say, oatmeal. If it's sealed up and it's sealed up properly, you can put it. Oatmeal will last, and it will weather the extreme temperatures better than other things, and it's edible. Anyway, and I have water in there as well, and fire. And so one could make oatmeal, or you could just eat it raw as is, and drink the water behind it, and you're still going to get all the same nutrition out of it and everything else. But I digress. Anyway, so those kits I've been able to make and get to where I need them, but I'm still putting together my 72-hour kits. I mean, literally, you should see my bedroom with the backpacks spread around in there, plus the stuff that I think I might want to put in, the stuff that was in, but I took it back out, the stuff that I'm not sure if I want to put it in, stuff that I don't think I can fit in, but I want to fit it in. It's a mess. And so, like I said, but it's an ongoing project, and it's been really evolving. But again, in most things, I have my home. If I'm forced to leave my home and it's still standing, let's just say, there's a lot of talk on the internet about a grid down situation. The crap hits the fan. The world is no longer as we know it. The electronic systems have completely failed. We no longer have self-service. There is no water supply, electricity supply, or whatever. And then let's just say there's riots or enemies or even, an invasion by another country. And I don't want to sound like an extremist or anything like that. I don't think we're getting invaded anytime soon. But, the day that Pearl Harbor happened, nobody thought that was going to happen either, but yet it did. And, 9/11, nobody ever dreamed or conceived that would happen, yet it did. And so there are things I think that we should always be prepared for. And I think that's what being prepared is. And that's what, ultimately, I think we should be prepared for the most extreme things, because all the other things we can deal with fairly easily. And so as I'm building these bags, I guess that's kind of what I have in mind, is that if I have to leave my home, my neighbors are in the same boat as I am. I can't access my family. If my family that lives in other cities or communities, I can't call my brother or sister and say, hey, let's get together, let's band up, let's pile our goods and see what we got, in our 72-hour kits. That's what they're for, is to leave. And so I'm actually very anxious to share what's in my 72-hour kit. I'm going to make a video of that coming soon. I've about got my 72-hour kit, if that's what you even call it. I don't think it's properly called a 72-hour kit, because it's not a 72-hour kit. It's got to be a much more than 72-hour kit. It's got to be a kit that can sustain you or help you get started in sustaining yourself when there are no other means to do so. And I think that's really what it's for, and that's what I'm building it for. So anyway, I'm anxious to get that finished and then do kind of an unboxing of my 72-hour kit that's taken me the last 8 months to pack, and unpack it on video and show what I've got in there and explain why I've got in there. And there's two reasons I really want to do that. The first reason would be because I hope others can learn from my learning and from what I've learned. Like I posted a video on making fire the other day with flint and steel. I wasn't very good at that, but after watching this 5-minute video from an expert on that, and some guy that does very good, I posted the link to his channel in that video, by the way. But anyway, I watched his channel. I learned how to make a fire, and I can make a fire with flint and steel now, and I can do it fairly easily. And so as I'm learning and I'm growing, and I want other people to be able to get that knowledge from me, and I want to share that. Also, I'm so anxious, and I really, truly hope that as people are looking at what I have, I get feedback, positive, negative. I hope all constructive feedback. This is a small-time family channel. There's no way I'm going to take any feedback that's not constructive. So anyway, but I really do hope that somebody tells me, like, hey, that was a really great idea. I'm going to put that in my kit. Or somebody on the other hand telling me, hey, in my kit, I've done this, or, it might be better if you try this, or have you ever thought of this, or whatever thing that I can learn, I can grow, my kit can be better. Honestly, I hope that I can live my entire life, and my kids can live their entire life, and my grandkids can live their entire life, and no one ever really needs a 72-hour kit. But I can also tell you that if you ever needed a 72-hour kit, you would be so glad you have it. And that's why I'm building it, is because if I ever really need it, I'm going to be very glad that I've put the time and the investment into my kit. And so really, that's all I wanted to say. I don't know how long this video is, but I'm sure it's way too long. But you can spend so much money on a 72-hour kit. You can buy all the best of the best, this $200 knife and this $180 hatchet. You can also go to Walmart, and there are some things, that are certainly better quality at other places. But we don't all have unlimited budgets or sponsors or whatever thing. And so we're all just trying to build our kits on the budget that we have in the realities that we all live in. And I really hope that my learning, my conversations, this video can help others learn, grow, and I hope that I get feedback and comments on any video I post, including this one, or all the others. So thank you.